Hello sweet ladies, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Yinka. In today's tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this sleeve. So let's get into it. Measurements we are going to be using for this tutorial: you measure from the tip of the shoulder to where this puff sleeve is going to stop. For my client it was 10 inches. Then from shoulder tip again, you measure down to the length where you want the long one to be, and for my client that was 21 inches. Then you also take the circumference measurement at the upper part like this, and then you also take the circumference measurement at the lower part as well. For the folding, I'm going to be folding the fabric into 4 because I'm going to be cutting the 2 sleeves of this dress together. So my fabric is folded into 4. Then I'm going to be taking my measurement upward because I need the lacy edge of this fabric. So from the down part I measure upward my length, which is 21 inches, but you know, because of seam allowance I made it 21.5. so I added ½ inch to the length. Then from where I mark, I will measure down my cap height, which is 5 inches, and on that 5 inches I'll measure my armhole length with my seam allowance. Then I'll mark out my cuff this way. I believe we all know how to cut a basic sleeve. Then at the hem of the sleeve I'm going to input the round sleeve measurements divided by 2. Then I'm going to add my seam allowance. Then I'll connect it back this way. Then after that I'm going to cut it out. Alright, so I'll notch the tip this way. Then from the tip I'll measure down the length that I want for the puff. Like I said, from the measurement is 10, so I'll measure 10, but because of allowance I measure 10.5. So I measure 10.5 and then I'll roll it. Make sure you transfer the shock to the right side of the sleeve on all the 4 sides. So I'll open it and turn it to the right side this way, and I'm going to just use my ruler and rule that line on the right side. That line is the length of the puff sleeve, which is 10, but because of allowance I use 10.5. You do the same thing to the 2 sleeves. So from the beginning of the sleeve you measure down the length you want for the puff sleeve, and then you roll it on the right side of the sleeve. And once that is done, you keep the basic sleeve aside. So you need to take note from the underarm. You see, from that point to where the length of the puff sleeve is, you need to take note of that measurement. In my own case it's just 5 inches. It's just 5 inches. Alright, so I'm going to be cutting the puff sleeve now, and because I'm using velvet, I'm just going to fuse the velvet first with my soft interfacing, usually called paper gum, a very soft one. So I first gum the interfacing on the velvet. We all know that velvet is very soft, so for it to have body, so I added the interfacing. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll fold my fabric into 2. Just look at the way I'm folding it. You fold it into 2, then you fold it into 4, then you bring it downward like this into 8. Reason for this is because we are cutting the 2 sleeves together. I don't mean you are cutting just only one sleeve. You just have to fold your fabric into 4 like you want to cut a peplum. Alright, but in this case it's folded into 8 like you want to cut like 720-degree peplum, you know, the way we used to fold it into 8. So exactly that is what I did here. So for you to determine the amount of this length here that you're going to be rotating, you need to add your puff sleeve length, which is 10 in my own case. Then for this puff sleeve to puff very well and be very fine, you will add extra 5 inches to it. So plus 5 like this. Then again you add the length of your armhole. The length of my armhole was 9. Then you will now add the length of that place that I ask you to take note. That is from the underarm to where the puff sleeve stop while you are cutting the straight sleeve. So you add it, which in my own case it was 5. So altogether now I have 29. So this 29 inches, you will now divide it by 2. Whatever this gives you, this is what you are going to rotate. So let's go do that. All right, so I'll just rotate the 14.5 inches just the way we used to rotate when you want to cut peplum. So that's how you just rotate it. Then after that, you connect it together like I'm showing you here. Then the next is to cut it out. Alright, so the next thing you want to do now when you're done cutting is to open it. If you open it completely, you have to circle, but don't open it completely. Just open it the way I open it here, like this, like a semicircle, just the way it is, like this. So the next thing you want to do is from one end, you're going to measure the length of your puff sleeve plus 5 inches, like I said. So I measured 15 inches here because the length of my puff sleeve was 10 plus 5, that's 15. So from where that 15 stops, you measure the length of your armhole, which is in my own case it was 9. So you measure the 9. So from here to here is 9. That is the length of my armhole. All right, so the remaining one at that other side will now be that measurement that we took earlier. So the next thing you want to do is to divide the length of the armhole into 2, just the way I've done it here. Just fold the tape into 2. So once you note the center like that, whatever the remaining thing will now give you, like in my own case, if you divide the 9 into 2, that will be 4.5. So from the center of the armhole like that, you rotate the 4.5. Hope it's clear. Then once you're done rotating, you connect it together. So the next thing now is to cut this circle out. Then let me explain again. So from here to here we have 15 inches. Then from that 15 inches upward you have 9 inches. Then you locate the midpoint of the 9, which is 4.5 now. So you are going to just place your tape at the middle like that, and then you rotate that 4.5 around that place. All right, then the next is to cut it out. I hope it's clear. If you have any question, please kindly leave it in the comment section, and please, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please kindly do that. All right, so I'll notch this tip here. That is where it's going to be connected to the shoulder, so just notch it. All right, so this other hand here, you are going to slit it. Just slit it. This is the shoulder tip and this is the underarm. All right, so like I said, that 2 places need to match. So the flare part, the lower part of the flare, you can see this lower part, you are going to gather it, and then you will sew it on that line that you ruled earlier, where the length of your puff is going to stop. All right, then the upper part, you just join it to the sleeve cuff at the upper part like this. All right, so let me just do it for you on the sewing machine so that you will understand it better. So all right, this is my main sleeve. It's a pencil sleeve, as you can see. So this is the line that I ruled, that is the length of my puff. So you need to measure that line now so that you'll be able to gather the flare to that amount. All right, so I measured mine. Then the next thing you want to do is to open your flay. Then the lower part of the flay, you are going to turn the machine die to the longest stitch so that you can run a gather stitch on it. So I'm just going to run a gather stitch at the end of the flay like this, so that I can gather it to that measurement that I took. Alright, so once you're done running the gathering stitch, the next thing you want to do is to pull your gather, and then you are just going to pull it to the circumference of the measurement that we took on the pencil sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and gather it. Alright, so I'm done gathering it. Alright, so this is how it looks after gathering. You can see it's already forming the puff. Alright, this is how it looks now. So the next thing you want to do now is to attach this puff sleeve to the pencil sleeve. So grab your pencil sleeve, and then you're going to sew the puff on top of that line that you ruled. So just place the velvet right side to right side with the pencil sleeve, then you're going to stitch on it. And take note, you're going to be sewing with 1/2 inch. If you notice, the gather is very full, very full, so just take your time and be pushing it under your foot. And once you're done, next thing you want to do is to flip the puff sleeve upward like this. Can you see? Just flip it upward. You know, we notch the center, so match the two centers together, and then you're going to pin it like this. So the next thing you want to do now is to match the edge. You can see the way I match the edge together here. Match the edge together, and then you work your way around like so. So starting from the edge, you're going to stitch the flay together with the pencil sleeve. So you stitch it down till you get to the midway, and before you get to the midway, you know we already pinned the two together at the center. So before you get to the center, if there's any excess, you have to pleat it there. Mine was having excess, so I had to pleat it, which is okay because that is part of the style. So just pleat the excess, and then you sew across to the other side. Then you also pleat the excess at that center. Understand? And that's it. Your sleeve is ready. The next thing you do is just to attach it to the dress, and that's it. So I'll go ahead and attach it to the dress, and that'll be the end of the class. Thank you so much for watching. Please kindly subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed, and please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Bye.